When the Cubs made the Edwin Cabrera deal, did you feel like they were done starting pitching-wise? I mean, look at all the guys they have for the rotation. Well, Cubs convention sparked some speculation that maybe the Cubs could be in the market for Zack Gallen. Is that possible? We're going to talk about it. Nico Hoerner addressed trade rumors, gave his thoughts. How did the Alex Bregman deal come down? We're going to touch on that as well. And Justin Steele making progress. All that right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, hit the QR code there, join Mick Nation, and thank you guys. Over 9,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 10, and we're on our way there because of you. So love you guys. Thank you. Let's go. What do you say, guys? And thank you for being part of the Cubs Baseball channel today. Let's get right into it. Zack Gallen. Could a deal for Zack Gallen still be possible after the Alex Bregman signing? You remember that it was around December, it was like early December. We heard that the Cubs had made the deal to get Gallen, right? Bob Nightingale reported it. And even after his career worst 4.83 ERA and, a drop in performance, I think the Cubs feel like Gallen is the top free agent pitcher remaining and someone that they would really like to have on their team. He rejected the Diamondbacks 1 year, $22+ million qualifying offer. And you're hearing, look, Baltimore, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Cubs. Could the Cubs still make this deal? Salary projections for him, you're talking about 2 years, $45 to $54 million, maybe even up to 4 years, depending on that. 4 years, $76 million, I've heard. 5 years, $135. Nobody's giving him 5. He's not getting, I don't think he's getting 4 unless, maybe it's one of those deals where they're, they feel like they have to. I'm looking at something like this. 2 years, $54 million. That's 27 annually and then an opt-out. But how could the Cubs do this? I mean, let's do the math here, okay? So we got Edwin Cabrera, and we got Jameson Taillon, and we got Matthew Boyd, and we got Shota Imanaga. You keep going through and you're like, okay, Colin Ray, he's still on the team. Don't forget about Cade Horton. So you start going down this list and it's like, man, there's like 6 or 7 dudes. Well, the way that I see it possible would be that the Cubs would sign him and then they would have to trade Jameson Taillon to someone else and obviously flip that contract. I just can't imagine them keeping all of those guys. I don't think that the Cubs ownership has a stomach to go over the tax threshold. I think they'll go right up to it. And maybe if they were like in the mix and felt like they had a World Series team, they would. But it feels like to me, they're going to be one of those teams that's right there at the top, but not over of the tax system. So could they make this move? Yeah. Jed Hoyer at Cubs convention was like, we're not done. If you're going to compete with the Dodgers, if you're going to overtake the Brewers, you got to have marquee guys. There's no other way of doing it. And I didn't even mention Justin Steele because we don't know when he's going to be back, right? So Cade Horton got hurt last year. Edwin Cabrera hasn't been a guy that's given you a ton of innings in his career, but he's really talented. Matthew Boyd had his best year ever last season. Jameson Taillon was really strong down the stretch. Shota Imanaga kind of faded away. Colin Ray was really consistent, but not someone that you would want to hand the ball to in a high-pressure post-season game, right? But if you get Cabrera and Horton and then Zack Gallen, and then all of a sudden now you got something, and you hope one of these other guys emerges. Could someone else, come out of nowhere? Jordan Wicks, maybe, finally puts it all together. Or maybe it's Jackson Wiggins. I don't know. But the Cubs have starting pitching, but they don't have super elite starting pitching. Zack Gallen, I think, look, until he signs somewhere else, I think the Cubs are still in the mix. And I don't think that Bob Nightingale swings and misses like he did on that one. I think that there's a reason why he thought the Cubs signed him. And like I said, and I've said it on here before, those guys don't get to where they're at by being wrong. That was a big wrong, but maybe not so fast. We'll see. All right, Nico Hoerner was at Cubs convention, and they asked Nico about the fact that the Cubs were going to trade him. What did he think about it? And you got to love Nico, man. Like, first off, Nico just represents the Cubs in fantastic fashion, right? He is one of the best players at his position. He came up through the Cubs farm system. I said he reminded me of Ryne Sandberg. The guy on the score in Chicago, Mully, took shots at me for weeks before Nico even played. How do you like me now? I'm not saying he's Ryne Sandberg, but Mully, what do you think now, buddy? I mean, he's a pretty good player, right? Couple All-Stars, Gold Gloves. Maybe he doesn't have the power. And I thought, and I'll give you this. I thought that because he barrels the ball up so much, that eventually he'd turn into Rhino where those line drives would be home runs. He hasn't done that. But everything else, it just is. And now the Cubs are talking about trading him. And there's a lot of people that don't want to see him go because they love him, because they realize he's a special talent. Now, he's not Ryne Sandberg. Nobody is. But, as far as the Cubs go, developing, someone like him, it's like, it is what it is. He's a great player. Nico said about the trade rumors, he said the trade rumors always make you reflect. Anything that makes you question things is healthy. I obviously love the Cubs, and I'm grateful to be here right now. Like usual, extension or contract-related things are going to remain internal. But I love playing for the Cubs. I think that was evident in signing a deal initially, and hopefully evident just in how I approached the game. I have gratitude of being here and playing in front of these fans. I'm so excited for this season and the roster that we have going into the year. That being the absolute main focus and things falling in line from there. Great way of putting it, Nico. I'm going to tell you right now, from the comments that you guys have put on here, no one wants him to go. And I think that's a cool thing. I really do. All right. The Alex Bregman deal. Wanted to talk about this because it is really fascinating to see how the Cubs got this done. And what's super fascinating, and our friend Patrick Mooney with The Athletic did a great job of, documenting this, covering it, is that apparently Bregman almost went back to the Red Sox. So they interviewed Scott Boras, and that's his agent. And basically, he was like, that night we called Jed because we had things that were operational, and he had to make decisions. Otherwise, a different decision was going to happen. So basically, he was going to go to the Red Sox, and basically talked about how Jed approached the, just all the stuff that goes along with signing contracts now, including deferrals, with our friend Crane Kenny and our buddy Tom Ricketts. And then that kind of set in motion them getting the deal done. And remember, it came down to like, what was it, like it's a couple small, it was like $10 million and a no trade clause or something. I mean, it's like something like that. The Cubs were going to have to do whatever it took to get this guy, because when you put him in the lineup, and that's something that we're going to look at this week, just kind of projecting the lineup. But without Kyle Tucker, you had to have that other guy. And I, and to me, I was, and I'm still looking at trading Owen Casey as not a good thing, because you didn't sign Kyle Tucker, and then now you don't have Owen Casey. So you missed out on two pretty big left-handed bats. But the Cubs, feel like they've got with Bushy and, and obviously PCA Ian Happy able to switch hit. They got enough lefties, they feel like, to get through it. Adding Bregman financially makes more sense, and it's a tough position to fill. It really is. I mean, there's not a whole lot of star third baseman, and he's seen as, I think, the biggest star third baseman in the game. Final thing on today's show, Justin Steele. Threw off the mound. Yeah, baby, let's go. Cubs are going to need Steele. He's not going to be there to open the year. And who knows how long it's going to take to totally return from, the surgery that he had on his arm. But it's exciting. He was at Cubs convention. I saw him talk to Marquee, and he's like, hey, throwing off the mound. We followed his progress. And that's one of the things you love about social media, right? They'll just post stuff, and it's like, hey, look, there he is throwing on the mound. So flat ground, and then, working back, getting healthy. We got to get him back. And then what you hope, and I guess this is probably something that the Cubs are thinking internally too, and this may be why, going all the way back to the beginning of the show with Zack Gallen, maybe they're looking at it and going, he comes back, he might not be effective right away. And by having, if they game plan for, I know he's going to be back in maybe May, but maybe he's not effective until July, then basically you got to have another starter for that spot. So, we'll see how that kind of plays itself out. So maybe they may be looking at it going, we're not going to count. Because think about Sandy Alcantara last year. Like, he was with the Marlins. He wasn't really that good, though. We couldn't figure out if he was going to be a player or not. And then by the end of the year, he was pretty good again. Takes a while. Some guys quicker than others. Anyway, thank you guys for being on here. Love the comments. Appreciate everyone that watches the show on a daily basis. It's been a whole lot of fun. And I'm telling you, you got the national championship game. There's a ton of Indiana fans that watch. Your team's playing Miami. Sure, there's some Miami fans too. Hit that QR code right there. AveD, that's our Web3 home for Mick Nation. We'll have that game as one of the things that you guys get to do to just try to win. Hey, I got some swag. Oh, not this hat, but I have. So back here. Oh, I got one of these. So I'll give some of these away too, like we've been doing. And for those of you guys that have won one of those hats, please wear it. And if you want one, make sure you comment and tell me that. All right. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you guys for helping us get to 9,000 subscribers. Let's do 10. Be a celebration. Talk to you tomorrow, unless something big breaks.